Alright mates, this is Honor Win. Yes, a very pretentious name for a phone, probably claiming to take the title of the best gaming smartphone. Is it so? Let's see. We'll start with the design, as in this case, design really has some character to it. In my unboxing video, I said that it looks and feels iPhone-y, like an iPhone, because of this very modern trend to have all the sides absolutely flat. You see the sides, the back and the screen. All the dimensions are absolutely flat, but that wasn't quite fair, as I've never held an iPhone in my hands and I can't really compare this to an iPhone. What I can compare it to is Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, which is my main phone, and you see it follows the same design pattern. All flat sides, flat screen, and all other features. They very much like each other. They're almost identical in thickness, and that's ridiculous because there is 5000 mAh battery in Pixel, but 10,000 mAh in Honor, so that's twice the Pixel's battery, twice 5000 against 10,000. They are almost identical in thickness and in weight. This one weighs 220 grams, this one 230 grams with twice larger battery. That's insane, that's marvel. So what else? Yeah, the other fact I really want to share with you, it really stands out, the back plate material. We know for sure this is tough glass, some armored glass, but do you hear it? Much softer sound. It doesn't sound as glass. I don't quite know what it is. In fact, some composite materials, but you see those dents, multiple dents, because I bought it secondhand and the previous owner really either dropped it or maybe hammered some nails with it, so really made some damage to the phone, but it only left some dents. It definitely the result of some strikes, hits against the back. It would definitely, such a damage would definitely break the glass, but here we got only some dents. That's again absolutely phenomenal quality. And what else amazes me is that it not only does it have an active cooling, that's an ultra fan, that's an inscription ultra fan, that's an active cooling system. The air comes in, the blades are rotating, and the air comes out. Here are more openings, more holes. So with active cooling, it has full IP68 and IP69 rates. How do they do that with the active cooling? I've got no clue, but it's marvelous. So design-wise, it's an absolutely fantastically designed phone. Let's run by the specs, as not everyone might even have heard of this model, as it is China only, but with Honor Chinese models, it's very easy to get them work as absolutely global. So what we've got under the hood, it's an absolute flagship, powered by the absolute beast Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. And that's nothing to add here. The system is the latest Android 16. I'm not quite aware of the system support longevity. The screen is, what is it called? Full HD, I guess, but there's a trick to this screen. It gets the refresh rate up to crazy 185 Hz. That's the first on the market worldwide, first with such a high refresh rate, 165. But again, that's a caveat to it. We'll speak of it later. The memory, I'm very surprised here, 12 gigabytes. It's the base model, 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 storage, but that's not what's interesting. What's interesting, it shows as LPDDR5X/6. It can't be, absolutely can't be LPDDR6. LPDDR6 doesn't exist, does it? I guess not, but the latest and fastest RAM possible. Internal storage 256 gigabytes of the UFS 4.1. Again, RAM and internal storage are of the latest and fastest. Yeah, the cameras are just awesome for a gaming phone because it's not shown here for whatever reason, only the main camera being of 50 megapixels, but the real deal here is the telephoto lens being 1/2 inches, so half an inch. That's quite a big telephoto lens, larger probably than even on the Google Pixel. I don't quite remember, but having dedicated telephoto lens is just fantastic on a gaming phone. And what stands out the most is, of course, the battery being the mental 10,000 milliampere hours. Is it the most long-living phone? I wouldn't say so, given the fastest and most powerful processor. It's not the longest, it's not the most endurant phone out there, but it's very, very good in terms of battery life. Sensors, it has everything that's needed for proper gaming, and that's basically it. Now, the system, as it is China-only model, it was fair to expect not much user-friendliness and some difficulties in global usage, but I was surprised how easy it appeared to get the Google services and Play Store running on this device. I did it with no effort, almost, and I also quite easily got rid of all the Chinese apps, or maybe almost all of them. There are some still persistent, like Honor Choice, even though the system is in English, and it's probably Honor China store, online store. It's still in Chinese language for whatever reason. Some mini games, again, although the system is in English, and the mini games app I can uninstall it, so you can get it to be almost fully global. There are only a couple of things that I miss on this phone. First of all, there is no Discover or any news feed on the very left screen. You see that I can't even get the Chinese news feed running. For whatever reason, I need an Honor China mainland Honor ID, which I don't have. I have a global Honor ID. And what else? No eSIM support, and the AI assistant is Chinese one, and I can't even get it work. You see, to run Yo Agent, let's try it again. I need a Chinese mainland account, which I don't have. So no circle to search, almost no, I'm wrong about the assistant. There is this customizable, very, very customizable AI button, and it can be mapped. It's under the Honor AI section. It's placed here, AI button, and you can map almost any service or application. You see that I mapped Gmail for double press and Gemini for long press, so I still got my absolutely global AI assistant running very easily, just using this button. What do I have for the short press? Yeah, I've got the game space, so absolutely customizable to almost any service. Camera, AI assistant, Gemini AI assistant, any global application, or much more other services that I map on to be launched with this button. Not the tab, but you need a press to get your service of choice running. So almost perfect. The only thing that I have no clue about is the updates policy. There is nothing that I've managed to find on internet about the support longevity. It runs, it currently runs on the latest magicOS 10 software shell placed upon the latest Android 16, but I've got no clue for how many years it will be supported, and most important, how many major Android updates it will receive, if any. It might be also a case, but overall, everything is here, all my games, Gmail, and everything with the absolutely with the all notifications coming through in time. I've got it all work perfectly here. And another rather important system feature to mention, this phone has fully functioning AOD, being the always on display, unlike many other even global models like Realme and Poco phones having only 10-second AOD. This one has fully fledged AOD. You see, even consisting of two modes, full screen, but it would only work from tap to tap. You would need to tap on the screen, but in quite conventional partial screen mode, that's mostly used AOD mode on any phone, it fully functions like all day. Let's do it all day. I usually put it on scheduled mode, like from early morning to late evening, but let's put it on all day, and voila. And yes, all the notifications from global, from Google and other applications would pop up here in time. So beautiful to have fully functioning AOD. So one of the major highlights of this phone, apart from huge battery, is of course the screen. Why? Because it was meant and it was built to be the fastest screen on the market. Why? Because it was the first device in the world across all the phones and gaming tablets to support this crazy 185 Hz high refresh rate, highest up till now. I believe the Red Magic Astra 2 tablet should be out, also having up to 185 Hz, but this one was the first in the world. So applauds to Honor for creating such a fast screen. However, there is a catch. The catch is not the fact that it's not LTPO. It is not an LTPO, but it's fine. Many other great phones without LTPO showcase great battery life, especially with such a huge battery. So the catch is not in LTPO technology, but in real life refresh rate. You see the ranges or grades of the refresh rate, 120 and then immediately 185. What it means is that if a game or an application doesn't support exactly 185, it might not run as high as this screen is capable. This is what it should be for a great gaming device, and this is Red Magic Astra, the first tablet, and you see the grades or ranges 120, 144, 165. So everything here is quite familiar to us and of course to the game developers. And just compare it to Honor. It jumps straight from 120 up to, it leaps up to 185 with nothing in between. Does it hinder or does it affect gaming? Yes, of course. Let's see the display section where we actually choose a refresh rate. It's now set to high, up to 185, but when we open the list of apps with their actual high refresh rate, we won't find, so we may go through it as slowly as not to miss any app. And you see, none of the apps, just none, even the system ones, the settings, even the settings, meaning the home screen, do not support 185, only 120. And yeah, games might support higher than 120 hertz and FPS. Those are interdependent refresh rate and FPS rate. So some of these games might run at actual 185 hertz and 185 FPS. But to check that, we need to switch to the gaming section. So games and 185 hertz or 185 FPS, and I'll start with a couple of lighter games, as those games support the highest possible FPS. So that's Subway Surfers. I don't play them regularly, but what we should see here is, yes, this phone and some probably selected games we'll see further on support 185 FPS. You can see it in the game assistant. However, there is no that FPS meter floating window or floating monitor, and that's I hate about a phone which is kind of meant to be a gaming phone. Every respectful gaming phone should have a floating FPS meter. This one doesn't, as many others. So you see, 185 FPS are absolutely technically possible. 185 stable and steady. So let's try another game that runs up to 165 FPS on my Red Magic Astra, because 165 is the highest refresh rate on that tablet. But here, let's just play and see what it does. 120. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the game just doesn't know what 185 FPS is. 185, it's not supported. The highest this game and many others, I'll show you further on, many other games only recognize 165, but this phone doesn't have 165 hertz in the settings, and that's very sad. So again, that's Beach Buggy Racing 2, quite an entertaining, yeah, with the highest refresh rate and frame rate that the phone can only allow. But again, 120, not even close, not 144, not 165, only 120, which is also very fast, but doesn't absolutely live up to the advertised refresh rate of this phone. And lastly, the heavy hitter, Call of Duty Mobile. For me, it is a heavy hitter. I don't play Wuthering Waves or Genshin Impact, and I play what I play. And we see we've got 165 FPS in the settings of Call of Duty Mobile. 100, yes, we can unfold it again and see that the switch of 165 FPS is turned on, and the graphics can be, no, max, no max, no, not max, and the 165 FPS is supported with the, I believe, very high, very high, and 165 combination is absolutely possible. My Red Magic Astra doesn't support that, only 144, because probably of the processor, because Astra has Snapdragon 8 Elite, so the first generation. This is 8 Elite Gen 5, so from first to fifth generation in one leap, for whatever reason. And we can see, 60. There is an FPS boost. What's happening? I don't even see 120. So technically, I don't know what's happening right now. Let's check this. Very high, 165, but what I see is 60. What's bloody going on? 120. Oh yeah, we got 120, stable and uninterrupted 120, but it's not what should be here, because again, I'll do it for the third time in a row, and the graphics settings are set to very high, very high, not even medium, very high graphic quality and 165 FPS. But again, this phone doesn't support anything in between 120 and 185, so whatever game runs at 144 or 165, it won't run their maximum on this phone, just because this screen wasn't quite thought through by the developers. I showed you on my Astra tablet what it should be, that all the ranges, meaning 120, 144 and 165, should be supported technically on the screen, but not here. So it's only, sorry, I've got some mistouches because I'm not used to play on such a small, this screen is small for me, 6.8 inches, but not large enough, not big enough for me. I'm used to a small tablet. 9 inches is my tablet, or at least a foldable phone which unfolds to 8 inches. But I absolutely digress from the subject. So the subject of this story, of what I'm showing you, is that it's very poorly adjusted or designed to maintain the refresh rate that games can support. You see the current refresh rate at 120, and there is nothing in between 120 and 185. So this phone should wait till the next, probably a major update of Call of Duty and all that kind of games that can support up to currently 165 or in future 185. So this phone just should wait on the shelf. The battery, and it's quite interesting, as there are several things running into each other, going in opposite directions. First of all, yes, this phone has the largest battery on a flagship phone, and it's nothing but a flagship. It's certainly a flagship powered by this monstrous Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, but this processor is the first factor affecting the battery life. You see, for example, being at 0% load, so it doesn't do any foreground processes, any active process, only some background things like checking for notifications, whatever. So it doesn't clock down to its lowest possible frequency, so it doesn't go to 384 megahertz. It spins around almost 1 gigahertz, and that's a lot. being at 0% load, you see it doesn't sleep. It's very power hungry. The second thing affecting the battery life is, of course, the active cooling fan. Yeah, it's real. It does its job. I played Call of Duty, and the fan was very quietly but spinning. And being an active cooling fan, it needs, of course, power to spin those blades. So it also eats up some battery, and surprisingly, it was a huge surprise to me the optimization. It's the first Honor phone, maybe because of the chip, maybe because of it's quite a unique and not very well known across the world. But that's the first Honor phone not being perfectly optimized to kill the background processes. Something's going on all the time. We can see the battery graph or battery chart. Yeah, it was sleeping almost all the time, and yeah, it spent that's what 8 days. But yeah, it eats up battery slowly but steadily. It eats up battery, being in idle mode, so doing nothing almost. And just for reference, 1 hour of playing Call of Duty took me approximately 11%. Does it look like the best battery? Probably not. I believe the OnePlus 15 or any phone with 7000 mAh battery would do approximately the same. So, bottom line, is it a 2-day phone? Yes. Is it a 3 days phone? Only if you don't play Call of Duty or any heavier game. Cameras. And being a gaming or performance-oriented phone with its crazy power, Honor really wins in the camera capabilities compared to other performance monsters, gaming phones or just high-performance phones like one from the OnePlus 15. As this phone has all 3 proper lenses, including a dedicated telephoto sensor, and that one is a very good one, being of 1/2 inch size. Doesn't sound very large compared to Chinese photo monsters, like photo flagships, but 1/2 inch is a decent size. I believe that the telephoto sensor on OnePlus 15 is smaller than 1/2 inch. I'm not sure, but I believe so. So technically, these cameras should perform very well, don't they? But again, there is a catch. What I'm talking about, I'll take a couple of quick shots with a dedicated telephoto lens right away, right in front of you, and I'll show you my point. Yeah, you see, couple of seconds passed and it unblurred the system, and the AI algorithm did their magic and sharpened the photo. You see now the text is so clear and clean. There are no blurs, no distortions at all, and that's 6x, so that's a digital crop from 3x native zoom range. That's a 3x. Yeah, 3x also good, but you see that it has some blur to the letters, to the words, but 6x looks perfect, and I believe you were able to spot that process right in front of your eyes, that the system took a couple of seconds to sharpen it out. So my point is that it was all done when the phone was online with internet on. I didn't put my SIM card in this phone, and when I went outside to take my sample shots, the phone was offline, and the hardware itself didn't perform that well because there was no connection to internet. So these days the hardware even being quite capable and with a great potential, the hardware itself these days doesn't do the job for whatever reason. So whatever photo I took with whatever sensor, the quality wasn't great. It was just okay, nothing more. I'll show you my outdoors example in a sec. But yeah, here is a catch. You need AI and internet connection at all times, because only that way you'll get good quality from your photos. Honor Win 4K 30 FPS as the ultrawide only supports, here it is, supports 4K 30, and the main and telephoto support 4K 60, but here is 4K 30 3x. Very nice. Is it stable? Probably not so much. Let's try to 5x. It's 5x on the dot. Okay. 9.9x, almost 10x, and I don't quite like it. Maybe I don't like it at all. Right, what's my overall take on this quite a unique phone? Well, I'd call it a phone from the or for the future, as currently in mid 2026 it's almost the only device on the market supporting that mental refresh rate of 185 Hz, which should translate in 185 FPS in games, but currently very few, if any, games support that 185 FPS. I've managed to find only one, being the Subway Surfers, not the most demanding or the most entertaining game or graphics dense game. It's quite a simple one, so it needs to wait probably several months until developers of Call of Duty and other popular games will add 185 FPS support to their games. Till then, it's quite a fancy phone. Yeah, it's clearly a gaming phone, having that large battery, and that's cool, that fancy active cooling system being quite different from the only probably left gaming phone apart besides this one, the Red Magic, the Red Magic 11 Pro that has all the cooling sealed inside the body. This one has an active cooling that's very fancy cooling system. The air comes in, the air comes out, so I love it. And with all that openings, it still has full IP68 and 69 resistance rates. So very nice overall phone, but it needs some work on the system optimization, especially the camera optimization, as it has one of the best on a gaming phone, if not the best, camera sensor. So the hardware is beautiful. Overall, the hardware on this Honor phone is top of the top. The software, yeah, it needs quite much of the development to do yet. So currently, very fancy phone, great hardware, absolutely not great software. Can I recommend it? Yeah, if you need a quite versatile gaming phone, having all the cameras and at the same time being gaming oriented. So currently it's more for gamers. Was nice seeing you all. Cheers.